Welcome, basketball heads. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding, and tonight we have my former teammate, that's right, a Lincoln alum, and my captain at Abraham Lincoln, and Primetime Basketball League owner, John Askew. We're going to do it up like that, all right? Just want to let you know, tonight's show is sponsored by Styles by Nita and Unique Creations. Let's do it.
Y'all ready? Yeah. You have just stepped into the world of chaos, where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online. Buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
Hey, what's going on, my brother?
What's happening with you, boy?
I'm chilling, man. Good to see you, brother.
Yo, good to see you. Hadn't seen you in a minute.
That's right. It's been a long time, man. I was the little freshman, sophomore running around, taking your orders and just doing what the freshmen do and the young guys do, to earn my place, man. I just want to appreciate having you as a teammate. You was a true leader, man, and I commend you. Thanks for being on the show.
Well, I appreciate the invitation, and I'm glad to see you doing the things that you're doing, to this game alive, and to keep the past alive. I see a lot of people coming on, doing things on these lives, and they're talking about the current, but I didn't actually. It's interesting. I didn't know you were such a historian.
Yeah.
And I guess because you were a youngster on the squad. So, being a freshman, actually that was, I think that was our first year that actually freshmen made the team,
Wow.
Yeah. The history of Lincoln,
That's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah, the only freshman that had made made Lincoln's team was Wes.
Wow.
And he made the team because he was Don Marbury's cousin.
Right.
And that had a little bit of influence with them making the squad, but it was good that you made it. Obviously, you deserved to make the squad. I think who else was on our squad? Was it Tiny? It was you and Tiny were the freshmen.
No. Tiny came the year after.
Yeah,
me, Josie Watkins, and Dave had a banjo. Right?
Okay.
Dave had an inside because he went to Coach school.
Yeah.
Right? He went to Jackie Robinson. Yeah. And Josie just happened to be the best ninth grader in Coney Island at that time. Because he came to practice with a whole Flames uniform, which just had everybody intimidated.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember myself, I just happened to go out for the team because I was following some guys who I took to train with because I lived across town. I came to school to play football with my guy KK.
Okay.
Kevin Williams.
Okay.
And he got into a big fight and he had to transfer to John Jay.
Got it.
And I wound up being stuck at Lincoln and going with my guys to the tryouts. They get cut, and I made it. And then I heard Coach told me that him and Steinberg had a little falling out because of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said, then Coach said, I rubbed him in his face a year later after he won a city championship and said, I was right.
Oh, got it. Well,
Yeah.
Good. I didn't know that history. Obviously, you came. I would consider. I'm going to just throw it out there. I think that was the best high school basketball squad in our generation back then.
Listen, from front to back, Yes.
Yeah.
We was loaded. We was loaded.
Yeah, I know, and you know, unfortunately, Spice didn't get to play, but we legitimately, you know, I think we had the best, you know, the best starting five in New York City, you know,
Right.
at that time. So you guys actually, I think that's what I think we really shaped Lincoln. You know, I mean, Lincoln had some decent teams before, you know, before that, but you know, they were always, uh, you know, maybe one player, two players from being like an elite team. You know,
Right.
but
Right.
our, you know, the 84, you know, the class of the 84 team had to been the best, you know, the best five, you know, including myself, even though I was a junior, you know, that was around. You know, you fortunately, as a freshman, you got to come on that ride, you know, come on that ride.
Man, look, I watched every play. I had a nice seat on the bench, and if we was up 20, I got a chance to get in. So, you
Yeah.
know, it was all love for me.
Well,
And I wasn't supposed to be there, so why complain?
yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I listen. You were a freshman. I mean, you wasn't even supposed to be on the squad, let alone.
Right. That's what I say.
But look what you turned out. Look what happened. You know, look what happened. You played against, you know, every day in practice. You playing against guys, you know, that Division I level players. You know, and you know how the practices. You know how the practices were back.
Tough.
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 The practices were almost. I think our practices were almost tougher than our games.
Yes.
Kind of
Yes.
games on cruise control. You know, I don't know if you remember this because I think you might not have been a part of it. I don't think none of the freshmen were a part of or underclassmen. I say under the junior class. I don't know if you remember that we boycotted a practice when we thought Harstein was getting on us. We actually boycotted, didn't come to practice one day because it was me, Damari, Silk, and Timmy Moses. You know,
Right.
we did not come to practice. We were kind of getting a big head, you know. And at that time, I think we was undefeated, like 18-0, and you know
Right. Right.
that. And we come to practice. So I was talking to Silk, kind of reminiscent about, you know, about our squad just 2 days ago, and he reminded me about when we walked out of practice. You know,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. But y'all, I mean, quite naturally, it didn't. Hartstein didn't make a big thing out of it, you know, because we
Right.
came back the next day.
Yeah. What I commend you guys. You guys was not only schooling us, you guys was giving us the history and the benefits of being on varsity basketball, right? Because before this, it was oblivious. I was oblivious to all the things that went on in high school basketball. And it wasn't for you guys, you know, Kenny Parker, since we lived across town, had a lot to do with it because he would give me the history of Lincoln. He would always talk about Henry Hamilton and being in the paper and Bill Travis and the importance of making sure that, you know, if you're a crosstown guy, you got to step your game up because the Cordiana guys are coming every day and they're talented. And rightfully so. You know, so with all of those things, and then you becoming a captain your senior year, and we weren't supposed to do anything.
No,
Right? That year, because we lost so much.
no, we lost. Wow, you're right.
We lost the boys and girls. We got our ass whipped. First of all, when boys and girls beat us with a freshman at the buzzer, right?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Robert Gilmore, who hit the last shot because everybody went that bug eye. The whole team, because we knew he was going to take the shot. And he did. And he shot an air ball.
Yep.
And Duke tapped it in with 1 second left.
You remember that, and so it was actually I was on Bug Eye, and what happened? Tim Moses came to double because I remember Harstein saying we're gonna double him and make him give it up, even though
Right.
on a shoot. And I remember asking Harstein in the huddle. I remember saying, "Coach, just let me check him," you know, and I get it. You know, he's the best player in the best player in the country, not just New York.
That's right.
Best player. And just, you know, rolling up on him and playing good D. And then I remember turning around and looking and seeing the air ball come down. And I remember seeing him go back up with that thing, man. I was never so hurt. You know, I haven't
Right.
still to this day, I still have flashbacks of thinking that's what happened. But I don't know if you remember what Coach did when he had us. You remember we went to practice the next day because he said we were going to get we went to practice the next day because he said we were getting an invitation to
Right.
an atmosphere,
Yes. Yes.
you know, and we
I
never.
remember that. I definitely remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we would have, listen, if we would have changed the course of history, because the one thing that separated us and Truman was you guys, you bigs, right? You guys, if us and Boys High kind of matched up evenly a little bit, but Truman wouldn't have had, they wouldn't have had a chance.
No, the championship was the Brooklyn. I mean, that was it. I mean, that was really the state. That was really the state. And as far as I look at it, because we were the best two teams. It was the most talent. They were the closest
Right.
talent, against anybody. So it's kind of one of those things, kind of like in the NBA, like the West, like the Western Conference, right? The best.
That's right. That's right.
We were kind of like the Clippers and the Lakers, right? In high school,
Right.
it's a coin flip on who was better. We were bigger. Obviously our size was, I was outsized people, but yeah, man, you were there, you got to see it, but I'm glad to see that you guys took took what we had planted and were able to take advantage of it, and today you look at Lincoln, and I don't know, does Lincoln even have a JV team? Have they ever gotten a JV team?
Yes, Tiny always had one, but he never took from it. This is like, I think Dashi, who's the coach now, I think now he's just starting to rejuvenate that JV team.
Okay.
Right? Because it was never utilized.
Got it. I know that was like when I came to Lincoln, it was like, because I come back from Atlanta, and I was like, man, they don't have a JV or B team. You know what I mean?
No.
You make the senior team or you ain't playing,
Right.
where that was concerned. So I think I'm glad if they have that, man, because honestly, kids need that, for that development, and
That's right. That's right.
if you're really good, like what it was down south, if you're really good, they put you on the JV, but they let you dress out for the varsity if you were that
right.
good, just for experience purposes of kind of being around, a higher level of basketball.
Well, I think in New York is different because you can only play one. You can't play both in New York.
Okay.
I know that they have that rule. But let's start this off. Who introduced you to the game, man?
Oh man, who introduced me? Because I don't know if you know this, but I was a better football player as a quarterback. And what happened is I love the football game because my dad played pro football. And
right, okay.
Yeah, he played quarterback, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I had a love for football, and I was starting as a freshman, and the seniors didn't like it, and they opened up the line one day, and they hit me from both sides because chances are I was about to start as a freshman quarterback, on a team that was destined to win state in Georgia, and they broke my ribs, and they opened a hole like the senior line. One of the guys looking, I got blindsided from the left, and they hit me with a helmet in my ribs and cracked my ribs, and I never put up, I never turned around and put on a helmet or anything again. But then I said, you know what? I kind of like that basketball thing a little bit, and I got family members that were in the NBA at the time. Lou Hudson, God rest his soul, and Walt Bellamy, God rest his soul.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, they were both in the NBA, and I was going to see them when they were, playing with the Hawks. So that's when I developed a love or an interest, as a freshman. So I only played 1 year of basketball, and that was at the age of 14. Other than that, I was playing football up until then.
Yeah, I played football. I played football as well, and I was very good. I was a quarterback as well.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was really good. I like in the league that we was playing, and I kind of like won the Heisman, and that's why I wanted to go into Lincoln because KK was like the best running back in our league, the best player, and then I got the best quarterback award, and then we was going to move on, and then things happened, and I wound up playing basketball. But a little short note with your cousin Walt Bellamy, he used to come to Fairleigh Dickinson and play with us all the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All the time. I know your cousin very well. We played all the time. He used to come and work out with us. Very humble guy. And for a guy who's been out the league for a long time, he was strong as shit. Like he was just so in shape and strong. And we will always say that is the difference between somebody who played in the league and somebody who's trying to play in the league because it's a physical specimen.
Old man ball, old man strength, NBA strength.
Oh yeah,
Sad. Yep. Yep. It's a whole different. You could be the same size, but it's a whole different level of strength. When you do.
right.
Yep. Absolutely.
So at the time, you moved up from down south to Coney Island, right? How old were you then?
That was interesting. That was interesting.
Huh?
No, that was interesting. Moving from the suburbs in Atlanta to Dwyer, uh,
Right, right, right.
in Brooklyn, Coney Island. That was a little shell shock.
Listen, I knew you was from somewhere else by the way you carried yourself. Because even though you knew how to fit in, you did your own thing, right? You had your own style of dress. You was always professional. You came to school like you was going to the office. That's what I remember from you, fam.
I appreciate it.
That was one of the right. And for me, being a young guy, seeing what an older classman should look and act like, and that was you.
Well, we might not have had, we might not have had money, but it was always about class and dignity. And growing up, I was born. I was born in New York and left New York and at the age of 4, went to Atlanta. So it's a little different type of culture. At that time down there, and you had to carry yourself a little different. You couldn't act like from hood at higher level of standard, and you had to, since things were kind of like had a little bit of a divide down there. Let's just put it like that.
Right, right.
I saw some things down there that people saw on TV, but I lived it. You know what I mean? So
right.
Really had to try to achieve. It created that drive and a passion for me to be successful because I saw a lot of things that I didn't really want to see as a kid. You know what I mean?
Right.
Starts on me, in terms of the culture and all of this and that, and how you couldn't wild out down there because you get your ass locked up.
That's right.
Really, et cetera, et cetera. So, down there kind of gave me a motivation about trying to be different, and not be typical and stuff like that. And it carried over, obviously it carried over in high school. That, one thing that I knew about sports that is to an end. You could take sports as far as you could take it, and it's what you do with the tools that you learn from being involved with sports that's going to help you, with your life set, and in terms of depending on others, but depending on yourself and discipline, in terms of, going to practice and what time you have to be someplace and all this and that, those skills, man, transition. I think that really helped me, in terms of the discipline that sports brought, But I always saw other people. I grew up, around people, and I always saw them having more than me. So it was like, how do I get what they got? You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Hey, I remember I was one of those kids. This might sound like nothing to people right now, but back then, man, I was turning around and selling blow pops, at in school, and I know that's like I'm saying right now, nobody probably say, that ain't nothing, but it was something back then, man. I saved my little
That's
five.
right.
I was flipping every day. I went to school with $5 of candy, came back with $15 and did it every day. You know what I mean? In terms of so that business entrepreneur type thing, getting a pass. You saw it on the show The Wire where the kid was going to each different lunch with that. And,
That's right.
yeah, doing that stuff. Man, I think they got that for me because I was the first person doing that. Low pops, life, everything, and
Right.
$5 worth, and then I stacked the rest of the paper.
Yeah. That'll help you build the entrepreneurial spirit for real.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So when you came up to Coney Island, who was the best player in the neighborhood?
Whew. Well, I caught the tail end of Don Marbury.
Okay.
At the time, Don Marbury was the best player in Coney Island. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I did get to see Eric. I did get to see Spoon. Did get to see Spoon play, but he was in his. I think he was in his senior year with Dominique.
Right.
Senior year down with Dominique in Georgia. But at the time, it was Sky, Don Marbury.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which I think Don. I think Don. He didn't have that little situation. Don would have been top 2, top 3 in the draft. Yeah, a lot of people don't know he had a little situation that happened. If it happened now, he'd have been okay. Because things are a little bit different. You can kind of get away with things. But yeah, that cost him from being drafted. But Don could hoop.
Yeah. I used to read about him in Street Smith. I didn't get a chance to see him play. I saw Eric play alongside with Dominique. But I used to read about Sky, how he used to lead Texas A&M and scoring, and he was like the school leading scorer in like 2 years.
Yeah, he was. He was. We saw him play. I saw him play. Actually, I saw him play because if he qualified, he was going to Georgetown. Don was going. Yeah, he was going to Georgetown, but he didn't qualify academically, so he had to go to that JUCO. And then he went to Texas A&M.
Right.
But
San Jacinto. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was going. He was going to Georgetown if he qualified.
Okay. So growing up, did you have any mentors?
I had Earl, the neighborhood guy, Earl Smith. I don't know if Earl Smith had a gymnasium like across from the projects, and I can't really say he was a mentor, but he kept a lot of us. He gave us a place to go, right? And
Got you. That's important.
Yeah, that's important, especially in Coney Island, man. I mean, back in the 80s.
Yes.
I mean, that's it's so many things right now are common, but back then it was uncommon to see heavy hardcore violence like well, I got to give a shout out to my man DB that came on, Dennis Butler.
Salute.
Yeah. And no, but he opened the gyms. He was the guy that for me, Silk, and all of us, every Saturday or something like that, instead of us, he'd open the gym. We play some games out there. So that would be the closest thing to a mentor, to me.
Okay.
How
good? Yeah, what you say?
I said, did you ever come out there and play?
Yeah, my family from out there. My family from 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah, Six. If you know Rick Six.
Yeah.
That's my brother.
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying.
Cortez, Mr. C. That's my father.
Okay. Yeah,
So that was another reason. My mother didn't want me to go to boys and girls. She wanted me to go out there. And then my father, and it made sense because my boy was going out there too. So it just all made sense.
well, we still had divide. We still had divide. In Coney Island. That's how serious it was. It's like, yo, you know what I'm talking about between West.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And West 33rd.
It was very serious, and shit. I was right there in Epicenter, right there in 23rd, when a lot of shit happened. So,
folks, on here, it was serious. Even in Coney,
yes,
like we were
yes,
real divide. People talking about Bloods and Crips. It was, it was some serious action down there. You were careful walking down. Coming too far down.
Yeah. Oh, and because there's nowhere else to go, you're gonna run into a dead end.
Exactly. That's what happened if you had to come down there. But if you
That's right. There was a way out going the other way, but not that way.
Yeah.
Because they wasn't letting you in Seagate.
Yeah. Seagate. No, you wouldn't.
That's right.
But if you could hoop, you could go anywhere in Coney Island. If you could hoop.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah. If you could hoop.
So I want to ask you, how good would Silk have been if he wouldn't have got shot?
Man, I think Silk. First of all, I think Silk would have been a first-round draft pick. I think he would have been in the league because I was there. He started when I was a sophomore. What was freshman? I'm trying to think what year was. Silk was. I was a freshman. Silk was a sophomore, and he started with Don Marbury, and that's when he broke out. And again, to start on that team with Don, Henry Hamilton, those guys, and Silk averaged like 16 as a sophomore, and put his name out there. And then after his going into his junior year, everybody in the country knew him. He said I remember the letters. It was so funny. It's so funny because I used to take Silk's letters, and you remember back then they had the questionnaire,
Yeah.
Yes. They had the questionnaires. So I fill out Silk questionnaires and put my name in it.
Always business minded. That's right. You always try to find a way.
Listen, so I turned around with Silk. I was like, Silk, yo, let me get that letter. You know you ain't going there. I said, you ain't going to Duquesne and this type of stuff. So I would take Silk's letters, and I would fill them out and put my stuff next to people was wondering why I'm getting letters. You know what I mean? Big thing, right?
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I was getting letters as a sophomore because of Silk's letters, but no, Silk would have definitely been first team high school All-American without a doubt. Without a, I think because of that incident that people kind of, people shied away from. And that's why, and I know, no disrespect to Rhode Island because that's a fabulous school, but Silk was going to Boston College. That's where he had his dream, and if Silk hadn't got shot, he would have been at Boston College before Michael Adams. You remember Michael Adams?
Yeah. Listen, I seen Silk score 13 points in a minute and 3 or a minute and 6 seconds in a wheelchair classic. And I seen him outplay Ron Strickland.
I was there.
In that game.
I was there.
And it's no knock to Ron, but Silk won MVP.
I was there.
Silk won MVP. Silk showed everyone in the city he was the man. And I remember Ed Davider going down for a layup. No, Silk was at the end of the court. And Ed Davider had the ball, and he would not pass the ball to Silk. He went down and scored the layup himself.
Yeah, you remember that. Because our assistant coach.
Yeah, listen, we was in the house, and our guy won MVP, and I was so happy. I was just so proud.
that was the best because you know what it is, I still remember being hurt, not being able to play in that thing. But I remember that's what the dream was for the play in the wheelchair because that was, to me, that was a true All American, true All American game, right? And you go tell people like, yo, man,
We had three guys. We had three guys: Silk, Damari, and Spice.
Yep.
That would have been some LA shit. We had like 4 guys in, right?
That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, but I know it was Strick. I know Strick very well, and he used to talk stories about, he used to talk because Spice and Silk were always such a combination,
Yeah. Yes.
Playing a back, the backcourt, so they were legends, and it was like, yo, Rod told me, said, yo, man, I used to hate when Silk and Spice would come uptown, and they would come uptown and they give people numbers,
Yeah.
uptown, and I was like, yo, Silk, Silk didn't get shot, bro. That's that one incident. I remember the night when it happened. I wasn't there. I was used, me. I was always with Silk.
Right.
I remember getting that knock on the door. Somebody came and said, yo, Silk got shot at a party. I think down around your people's way.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, in that apartment.
Yeah.
And so that gave, unfortunately, that made people think that, he was
He was a thug, yeah, and he was far from it. He was such a smooth dude. Silk was his name. Such a smooth, charismatic. He wasn't loud. He wasn't boisterous.
No.
He was a cool guy who got along with everyone.
Yeah, he sure did. He did. Silk truly was, honestly, was a humble dude for, it could have been, Silk could have been like, one of these guys with his, thinking he, was all that, but his energy, he did it on the court. You could tell, you tell that he act like he was that dude on the court, but off the court, Silk was this mellow dude.
How was Kenny Parker's and Damari influence on you? Because you had 2 D1 guys playing in front, like they was, these guys are solid.
I tell you what, they made me being at the 3 made it very easy.
Right.
Tell you that because I felt like we had with them because I know they say Kenny's 6'7", Damari 6'8.5", and in high school that was twin towers, almost, but they made it extremely easy, and they taught me a lot. I was the one that recruited Biggs, Damari, to come to Lincoln, me and Silk.
From LaSalle, right?
Yeah. That's where he was. And we was like, and we invited him, and this was before you. We invited him to our team dinner, our banquet, trophy day. And he was sitting up, Harstein introduced Biggs right there to everybody, but we behind the scenes had, worked on recruiting him to come there. KP was just, KP was just a special dude, man.
Yeah.
Yes. I like KP. I like the game. The game was, KP's game was smooth. His baseline game, you saw, his baseline game was tight with the, with the little 12-foot, 12-foot.
He thought he was Bernard King.
Oh.
He loved Bernard King.
Yeah.
He's writing a book. He wrote a book recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he wrote a book recently. He got some stuff about us in there.
Yeah, he was. Matter of fact, he told me about that, and I remember, before you was there, when we talked about legends, Pearl Washington, right? So we played against Pearl, and I remember Harstein told us, he called timeout. He said, "Kenny Parker, put your foot on the baseline, make him." And I think that's when Dick Vitale was there, to see Pearl, and it was like. Kenny said, "Put your foot on the baseline, make him turn in, make him," because I'm playing up at the top, Kenny down at the bottom, Biggs in the middle on the left side. So the whole point was to make him turn in, don't let him go baseline. And he shook Kenny, he shook KP, and I remember that time out when Harstein was like, "I told you, put your foot on the baseline, Kenny." You know, so I think Kenny put that in the book. You know.
Listen, and the news. Kenny was on the news because the camera was in his face.
You remember that? See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Listen, bro. Come on, man. Come on. And we used to always tease him about that.
Okay. Yeah, man.
We also, because I talked to him as well. We talked about. Actually, Lloyd and I talked about this too. When Lloyd gave him 29, when Lloyd was a freshman, and we had to put bigs on him at the end of the game to win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. He remembers that. He said, "Yo, Glenn, this guy was a freshman cooking me."
Yo.
And Lloyd was a beast.
Lloyd.
He played for Jefferson. He played for Jefferson during that time.
Yo, Lloyd
Yeah.
was the sleeper, but I played against Lloyd, and I played the 1 year JUCO out in Oklahoma. I played against Lloyd, man. I said, "Yo, Lloyd Daniels." I said, "Yo, that dude, pro." You know what I mean? I was like, "That dude is a pro."
Yes.
Yo, he gave us about 40, bro. He gave us 40, Glenn.
What junior college did you go to?
Northern Oklahoma. I went there for a year. Then I went to Oklahoma Baptist after that.
And how was your time? During that time, how was your basketball life? How was college life during that time?
Well, because of I looked at my senior year going back to high school, right? And you remember that I wasn't the tallest guy, but I was the best guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would have been better off. I actually would have. I would have been better off had I came out. If I was part of the '84 class, I would have been in a better position. Because I got to play 3 with bigs, KP. So I got to play a natural wing type of position versus playing between the 4 and the 5. You saw that, my season.
Right.
But the reason why I'm saying that, because by going to college, I had to transition back,
Yes.
to playing the swing player. So it was a little bit of adjustment because I had to stop trying to, have a game around the paint, right? And transition back, back to a wing position, then step out and use something I never had. Use something I never had in high school. And I had a jump shot. I never shot a jump shot in high school. I was just
Right.
get up off the floor. You know what I mean? And I developed a jump shot, during my freshman year and the second half of it, on that. So the transition was pretty good. And then it's just like, all of those things, muscle memory had to get back into the drills that, Harstein had us doing, working on right hand, left hand with the visor, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that you're not looking down when you dribble and all that type of stuff, but I'm telling you, college, I thought that college was just at the time was nothing but the East, but I found that real quickly, coming from New York and thinking, coming from New York, thinking I'm gonna go out west and go dominate. It wasn't that easy, bro.
Yeah, it's a whole different world out there.
Yeah, because when you're in New York, you only know about East Coast, East Coast stuff. You don't know about what's going on and anywhere out there, and you think everything out there is football and slow and they can't play. And then, I had a rude awakening. Let's just put it like that. A kid named a teammate of mine named Freddie McSwain. He was on my squad. He was from Bessemer, Alabama. From where Bo Jackson and several of these guys are from, but I'm like, it still killed me the first practice, so it was a catch-up situation.
And I know you was a great student.
Yeah. I didn't have no choice, because I said, you know what, it's interesting because I wasn't thinking of myself as a great player. I was thinking of myself as a good player, but not a great player. So I was always thinking about, life after the game. You I was always the type that was going to leave it on the court, as you know.
That's right. That's right.
I still remember. I'm gonna bring some up. I'm gonna go back to it. So I still remember getting MVP at Shenandoah and having when we lost in 2 games. I don't know if you remember that we lost when we.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah, we lost.
Yep.
Then to get a trophy at the end of it for hard work. That was the one time I was like, okay, hard work pays off, even though we lost both of those games.
Yeah, we lost to Greg Kubek from Duke.
Yep.
I remember that he was on the Shenandoah team. And coach, it was a good experience because we went to go live with these guys, see how the other half live, and it was a great experience because before that didn't happen.
No, that was
we got to play against white teams or whatever like that, but we never went into their homes, ate dinner with them, broke bread. And I think that kind of softened us up on them too. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it was all love. It was a great exchange.
No, that was life changing. That was life changing because you remember that first year we went up there
Yes.
We won it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and then the next year, going up there, and not winning it all, but the experience of staying in someone else's house, that was our one travel experience there,
That's right. That's right.
Flipping back over to the college thing and the the hard work. So I worked as hard off the court as I did on the court, because I was like, I don't know how far this game is going to take me, but it's at least got me in school, got me with the opportunity to go to school for free, which was first, between me and my brother and all of this and that. And,
right.
I loved the college experience. I loved it. I loved the college experience. I like that better than anything else that I've achieved in my life.
Yeah. It was definitely a good experience for me. I put up a post. I had the portions of my life, my basketball life. They got Abraham Lincoln, MCI, Maine Central Institute, because I went to prep school my senior year, and then Fairleigh Dickinson. And my college experience was a good time. Got to finish my degree, got to play, all my years of start, and had no regrets, right? So,
did Biggs recruit you to come to Fairleigh Dickinson?
Yeah. Yes, I had Boston College, Connecticut, Indiana State, Jacksonville, and Fairleigh Dickinson. And also at the end, Coach had brought up my man, I think he's a coach of the NBA now. He used to coach Wichita State. And Coach brought him to Lincoln, and me and Sean Williams, I think Sean was a freshman in American, and Sean came to work out with me. And I decided to go to Fairleigh Dickinson because, Biggs had a real good influence on me at that time. And also, they were just building a new gymnasium, and it was away from New York, but not too far away.
Yeah.
Right? And my mom she had cancer during that time, so I didn't want to go too far away. And that made sense. Right? Instead of going somewhere I know they're going to keep recruiting and over you, I know I can still maintain and have a great college life and be good.
That's what's up. Yeah, I was, I was surprised, and not surprised, but when I left and went out west, I didn't know what really anybody was doing. And then I remember my brother told me, he's like, yo, Glenn at Fairleigh. Like, what? You know what I mean? Because I didn't get to see, that's one of the things that I do miss, the fact that I didn't see, I didn't get to see you younger guys develop and go
right.
That. So, I'm always happy to hear these type of things. I was happy. It was like, yo, there's another one. You know what I mean? There's another one that's going to college, and that's going to take basketball as far as he can take it, in life. And so I'm always You know, you know me, I was never somebody that hated. I was somebody that,
Nah, not at all. Listen, we vowed the year that Boys High kicked our ass by 20, your senior year, we vowed to get their ass the next year. Like, no, honestly, Tiny, Bernard Mitchell, Sean Williams, Dave Banjo, Peter Pierre, like we were looking at the guys who came before us, honestly. And when we saw that we were ranked going into the 86 year number 3 behind Talentine, who had Malik Sealy, and Jackson, who had Lloyd, and we was the only team that didn't have no All City players, but we won the city championship. Like, I don't think anyone can name our starting 5. That's how rare and that it was for a group like that to win the city championship.
overachieved. It was well, this team, to say to chime in, on that had, but you guys put your dues in. You put your
Right.
dues. It wasn't easy for y'all in these practices, bro. You know what I mean?
We all rode the bench. We all rode the bench to become starters. The only guy that walked into a starting job was Tiny.
Yeah.
And that's another blessing in disguise. Because if he doesn't come, our point guard is Josie. And not to knock Josie, but we don't win the city championship with Josie.
No disrespect to Josie, but he's just a little light. You know what I mean?
Right. And he was a scoring point guard, whereas Tiny,
yeah, he can facilitate.
He gonna give it up.
Yeah, no, he can facilitate. But you're right, though. Your team didn't have, and I heard that. I was like, in saying it respectfully, like, no true bona fide star, in the
right.
I mean, in terms of statue, right? That's what we're talking about in terms of
yes.
Because ain't nobody in the city and didn't have somebody be all city. You know what I mean? A first team all city, or at least, well, that's the least first team all city, but you definitely had to be all state and all American. You know what I mean? To even be talking about. I mean, that's never happened. What you guys accomplished never happened in high school basketball history in New York.
It was such a balance, because we had Tiny, who was a pure point guard, right? Then we get Sean Williams, who's like an athletic beast. He's like the perfect athlete for a high school player. Sean Williams.
Yeah, he was.
Right? Because he was like the tweener, but he did enough to make up for the things that he lacked.
Yeah.
And then we have Bernard Mitchell, who was just like the Joe Dumars of our era. Because T could just take over. And one thing he did, when the level of the play that we played at, whoever we played that was high or had a big name, T rose up. If we didn't play anybody that was that good, we still would win, but he didn't have to take over like he would do when we played somebody big.
Got it.
Then we had Peter Pierre. He just blocked shots. Then we had Dave, who could defend like me and shoot, right? We had Ed Terrell. We just had a lot of specialty players. And for myself, I was 5'8", then I grew to 6'4", right? And 6'5". So all the stuff that I had at 5'8", I had at 6'4" and 6'5". The dribbling, the passing, the shooting, the defending, all the stuff that I had to do at a small guard. When I got taller, it was like...
It was like, what, 5'10"?
When I made the team, I was 5'8", 5'9".
Okay, I'm giving you an inch, but I was like, that's why.
And then that next year, the first article I got was with you, Sean Williams, and Bernard Mitchell. And then it says, and sophomore Glenn Harding, who grew to 6'4", will be moving in the starting lineup.
Wow.
I still got that article. I'm going to send it to you.
Send it to me, man. I miss those. You know what? You get older and and it's like you don't think about, you go through a phase, you don't think about, think about articles and trophies and stuff like that, and things that we used to run to every exit. But in the base of the paper was, we looked to see, we knew our stats was gonna be in there.
Big thing.
And big thing. So when it was like, that was one of the things that really surprised me when I heard you was going to Fairleigh, and then I was like, damn, he's gonna play point. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm still remember. You know what I'm saying? I'm
That's
still
right. That's right. That's right.
under 6 foot.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And to have that type of growth spurt, and I'm like, God damn, he got nice like that. It didn't make sense. But then when I heard that you had this spurt, this spurt in height, I'm saying, okay, it makes sense. Because Hartstein was the one that told me.
Yeah, because look, what he did, what Coach did for us, because after y'all year, he had made sure we all went in camp and we all played Madison Square Broncos, and we was already doing a lot of things on our own playing citywide and seeing a lot of these guys before we played them, and that came from y'all, because we remember sitting back and listening to y'all talk about the Ed Daviders, the Pearls, where they played at. Y'all would go watch other teams play. It was just inherited in us and passed down to us. So by the time when we got a chance to do it on our own, we was like, man, fuck that.
Yeah, because that you say that because, I remember my first year going to see Pearl, Kenny Smith, Mark Jackson. Who else was good at the trying to think. Strickland he wasn't on the map yet, but there was one other guard that played with Pearl. That played with
Elmer Anderson.
Yeah, Elmer Anderson. Elmer Atkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jump shooting dude, boy. Jump shooting.
That's right. That's right.
I remember that's what we did back then. We take a ride and we go check out them games, where it was LIU or somewhere like that. And I tell you, Pearl was Pearl Washington. To me, there was never a better high school basketball player ever. And I've seen my fair share of. Trust me, I've seen my fair share of them.
He changed the culture. Like when I interviewed Kenny, I was just telling him, like, for our generation, Kenny was the culture changer, right? Pearl he started that. Pearl also gave guys hope that we could go to like a Big East or a school of that nature and actually do well. He was like the guy who started it off.
He was the guy that started. He used to start, and that's right when the Big East. That's right when the Big East was popping. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yep. Saturday, I remember going to me and Silk watching the Big East games. back to back from like 12 o'clock to like 6 o'clock. Watching all Big East. All game. But Pearl had such an impact on New York City high school basketball that. It will, it set the course, right? It really brought it back. The dominance of guards, that particular between Kenny, Mark, and Pearl, that was the best year ever in any high school, the 83.
Right.
About John Johnson, and you got to throw John Johnson in there.
Right.
And
another one of my guys from my side that used to mentor us. Yeah.
Scary voice, all the voice. Yeah. Remember him play at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Where that's.
Yeah. See, we wouldn't know about these guys if it wasn't for you guys. You hear the guys that, they talk in the neighborhood, but to hear it from other ball players to know that y'all gave certain guys stamps. It let us know that we have to have our radars up and make sure we focus on the dudes that we may have to play against.
Let me ask you, because since you're such a historian, because which Scurry did we play against? Was it Moses? What Scurry?
Moses.
And
yeah.
Shut him
down. He went to UNLV.
Yeah, I shut him down.
Yeah.
I remember that we beat them because you remember.
Yeah, we beat them.
Yeah, we beat them. I remember.
Definitely.
I shut him down. I couldn't remember what Scurry was, but I remember.
Nah, it was definitely Moses. It was definitely Moses.
Yeah, because he was what about 6'6".
Yeah, because back then he didn't really have any moves if he didn't get like a dunk.
No, that's no.
You know, he developed later on and became a great defensive player and rebounded for UNLV. But in high school, he was just a total beast. He would just dunk it on everybody. He was like the Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah, he was.
With less moves.
I remember that. I remember that coach was like, because I think I held him like 12 points, 11 points. That was one of the out moments.
Right.
Again, I remember, that's all you heard about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So listen, I want to get to the next segment because this segment about to end. So we get into the Primetime Basketball League because I definitely want to hear about that, brother.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna come back. All right.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna come right back. All right.